Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to edition 13 of the Companies Act 2013 series, the Act and its Impact. And this edition is on loans obtained from promoters. Is it to be classified as a deposit or not? Before we actually get into a loan from a promoter, you would like to know that this Act for the first time defines a promoter. Section 2, subsection 69 defines a promoter and says, promoter means a person who has been named in the prospectus as a promoter or is identified in the company by the companies in its annual return, which is filed under section 92. So that's a base definition of a promoter. It also goes on to add that a promoter is a person who has control over the affairs of the company directly or indirectly, whether as a shareholder, director or otherwise. See, there are a lot of virtual control aspects that have come into this Act, which we'll perhaps talk about in a later edition. This Act also says a promoter is a person in accordance with whose advice, directions or instructions the board of directors of the company is accustomed to act. It also provides for an exclusion of a promoter. It says that nothing in this accordance to act by the board of directors will not apply to a person who is acting merely in a professional capacity. So if there's a consultant who is providing an advice, you can't classify him as a promoter. So this Act goes on to say that you've got a loan from a promoter, it shall not be treated as a deposit. And the relevant reference happens in Rule 2C13 of the deposit rules. It says any amount brought in by a promoter by way of an unsecured loan, it has to be an unsecured loan, provided the loan is brought in pursuance of a stipulation imposed by a lending institution saying that the promoters have to contribute. Now, the lending institution might say, I'll come with 80, ask the promoters to bring in 20. So this condition has to be satisfied. The loan can be provided by the promoter or their relatives or by both. And this exemption is available only till the financial institution loan itself is repaid. So, in a nutshell, any amount brought in by a promoter pursuant to a bank covenant, either by himself or his relatives, shall not be treated as a deposit until the bank loan is repaid. So if the loan gets repaid, then this amount will stand to get classified as a deposit. Very interestingly, the concept of relatives has undergone a change in this Act as compared to the previous Act, and that's something we'll look at in a later edition as well. It's like Honey, I Shrunk Their Relatives. So from some 22 numbers, it's come down to first what's a very lineal structure. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more, the Act and its Impact, the series on the Companies Act 2013.